Good morning. I'm Ralph Edwards. I'm the RE liaison on the board. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience and the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you follow our Facebook page. To participate in Zoom and receive announcements about special events in our religious exploration classes, please sign up for our weekly email. There should be a link in the comments section of our Facebook page where you can sign up. I'd like to draw your attention to recent announcements. For those in person, they are printed in your order of service. These are the links in the UC newsletter and weekly UU connections for those watching online today. Thank you for joining us in person or online today.
Well, Julie, I'm ready to drift off now. That was just beautiful. Thank you. I'm Ken Adler from the Social Responsibility Committee, and I have just one quick announcement today. Starting a week from today, on Sunday the 20th, our congregation will be providing meals for 1 week at the Beacon House, which is a family homeless shelter about a block away from us, just down the street. And we've done very well as far as signing up for people to bring meals. This is just suppers for these families. And right now there are just 3 slots left to be filled for meals to be cooked for those families. So if any of you have the interest or ability, you can contact me, or you can see the sign-up sheet in the UU Connections that comes out every Monday, and you can just sign up from there. But we have 3 more slots to go, and we've got a week to wait, so if you have the opportunity and the willingness, I think this is a really good cause. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, I'm really happy to be back in the building and to see everyone in person. And welcome also to those that are here online with Zoom or Facebook. My name's Linda Mays, and I am your worship associate for today. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysis, Facebook memes, and forwarded emails, as if the new zodiac was capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way. As if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we'd thought, and as if we are not also actors in this still unfolding story. For this hour, we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it all already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here, in our song and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root, for courage forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already, here and now. Come, let us worship together.
Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With a spark of a match, we make anew again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered this spiritual community and realized we were home. We light this chalice for renewal of our faith.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp, and I'm reading words by Josh Powelek. I am a person of faith. There are truths on which I can rely. I know my fear will burn away, not because I believe something for which I have no evidence, but precisely there have been times when I have been fearful and vulnerable and weak. And there have been great times when I have witnessed others, including many of you, confronting challenges far greater than any I have ever confronted. And they and you have been fearful and vulnerable and weak. And in the act of acknowledging and accepting my fear, my vulnerability and weakness, and in their act and your act of acknowledging and accepting fear, vulnerability, and weakness, somehow, always a next step emerges, a path emerges that we can go on. And in the beginning to move along that path, fear burns away. That is my experience, and I trust it.
Now is the time for our giving, but first I want to say thank you so much to all the members and friends who do regularly support the UUC congregation. Our annual pledge drive ended on March 1st, and we received 120 pledges for a total of $216,638, which is about 83% of our pledge goal. Our goal of $261,950. So the Pledge Committee is following up with members, and there's, of course, still plenty of time to go ahead and pledge, and we'll be in contact with some. You can pledge by calling the office at 715-834-0690 or emailing the UU office at uueauclair.com or dropping off a physical pledge envelope, which there are envelopes in the back if you need it, or filling out the pledge form online at uueauclair.com/pledge. And today, our 50/50 Share the Plate recipient for March is Lutheran Social Services, Chippewa Area Recovery Resource, CARR. Your donation makes a difference in people's lives. And on your order of service, you can scan to donate or text to give 84321. And when you donate in person, make sure to write your name on the envelope so it can get recorded to your statement. And it is with gratitude for the abundance in our lives that we give to help people in need and to support the work of this congregation. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Brothers, take
Isn't it great to have music? No, we've had music the whole time, thanks to Julia and others, but real people singing. It's fabulous. Thank you so much, Julia, Rob, Charlotte, and Jackie. And please join me with the congregational response. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. In my old Baptist days of my growing up, I would say, amen. It helps every once in a while. Our reading at this is called Faith Needs a Running Start. About 100 yards down, on a plateau that juts down and then out into the horizon, with an edge that leads to nothing but air, there is a woman, and she's 40 feet from the edge. And then she begins to run. Oh my God. But it's okay, maybe, because in her hands is a bar, and over her shoulders are the wings of a glider. And she's running. And just as she gets close enough to leap, a big breath of air pushes up the nose of her glider and pushes her back, nearly on her back. And so she backs up again, undeterred, and puts herself in her starting position and seems to stare down the uncertain horizon, seems to say with her body, "This is just a wee jump." And then she starts running, and she gets closer and closer, and then she rears up and pushes the nose down and stops right on the edge, her body seeming to say, "Are you sure? You trust these wings? You have faith in this air?" But then she backs up again, more uncertain but still undeterred, and puts herself in her starting position and stares out into the open horizon and its invisible currents, and her body seems to say, "Trust, trust, faith, faith." And she starts running. And just as she gets closer, a big breath comes and pushes underneath the wings and lifts her body out into the open, trailless, uncertain, scary, beautiful, wild, empty, turbulent twilight sky. Friends, here's the thing. Though I'm uncertain of much and have more questions than answers, this I believe: that on these edges and on these plateaus, the bars we hold are the hands that we hold. And the wings over our back is the community we create. And that together, we can step back and get into the starting position that is our church together. That together we can start running to that edge and leap, maybe even with just a wee bit of faith. And that the breath of love will carry us through the messy, turbulent, beautiful, the wild, empty, uncertain horizon of our lives. And if you don't have faith, let us hold faith for you. And if you don't know trust, let us hold trust for you. And together, let's leave what is heavy behind and fly.
Renewing faith. A lot of us have found ourselves in these past 3 years wondering what that looks like. Maybe we were sitting on our porch wishing that we had a family member or a friend sitting with us, missed play dates, missed family vacations, and now here we sit on the precipice of spring, the greatest act of faith a Midwesterner knows. This is, if I have learned nothing in 11 years, coming from a Southerner to the Midwest, is that spring is a holy experience. In the South, it just means that you get a lot of pollen and you sneeze a lot. We don't really like spring as much as Midwesterners do. But in January, everyone begins looking at their seed catalogs like it's some naughty thing that they're doing in the dark. They look at the catalogs. They covet each other's seeds. They make posts on Facebook or have whispered conversations, or it's all a great plan. And then we wait and we watch. March is the season that teases us and says, spring. Spring is coming. Do we trust it? Are we going to trust that spring is coming? Yes, it will come, but it'll come in spurts, and it will tease us. But this week, it's going to get to 50 degrees. Woo! And those of you on Zoom, if you didn't hear it, there's a wahoo, so feel free to wahoo on Zoom or Facebook. This is also fun because all my Southern friends say, what are these people doing running around in 40-degree weather with shorts and flip-flops? And I said, and it's that release, that great renewing of faith. And I used to think that faith had to be this idea of believing in a certain something, believing, like as a young child, my faith was that there was a Father God, the Holy Trinity, and people often told me that my dad was God, and it made me very mad. I went to an Episcopal kindergarten, and he would have our little children's story, and all the kids in my class was like, "Your dad is God." I'm like, no, he's not. So we have this kind of childhood idea of faith, whatever it is. You know, some of us grow up in a traditional synagogue or congregation. You know, some of us grew up on Saturday morning cartoons and NPR. I mean, our mileage varies. But having faith, you can be a scientist and have faith. I have faith in the Big Bang Theory, though what I love about science is it keeps proving me that there's more to learn, right? There's apparently some star that is older than the universe. So how does that happen? There's a star that was discovered. Does that mean that time is bending around it? Does it mean that it was the origin of the universe? And this is that beautiful idea that we just keep learning. The root of the word faith is a Hebrew, in the Hebrew Old Testament our Hebrew Bible is emunah. And that's the sound that is interesting because it's the sound that a baby donkey makes when it's calling for its mother. So if you want to hear the meaning of emunah, you need to say it like braying. So can you do that with me? Emunah. Emunah. I like that. And I think, it's kind of like the Bruno song. It gets in your head. Emunah. The point being that faith in the Hebrew Bible is like a baby donkey calling out or crying for its mother. There's something kind of wonderful about that. There's an element that is desperation or a cry, but there's also a confidence that the cry will be heard. And one thing that I really appreciate about the Jewish tradition is that they wrestle. They wrestle with their faith. They feel like they can argue with God. They can argue with their rabbi. and I think that Unitarians agree with that too. We discuss, that's the joke, is instead of going to heaven, we'll go to a discussion about heaven. And And it's so what is this renewing faith, having wings? We look here at these beautiful sunflowers, and we think about the faith that we're trying to have for the Ukrainian people, the faith that we're trying to have for a peaceful world in spite of really difficult news. Each day we wake up, and it's a choice. Do you turn on the news, or do you turn on music? How much can you hold? How much can you carry and keep faith? And I've really enjoyed the stories of ordinary people helping each other. I think that's the stories that I've been listening to the most. I like to hear kind of what's going on as far as the war goes. But then I hear about ordinary people evacuating, like there were these twins that were born, and they were in an ICU unit, and they were ferreted out in the midst of a war zone, or how people are having babies and being cared for by their neighbors. And stories like that restore our faith in humanity. What's interesting is that faith didn't enter the English language until the 1200s, after the Norman invasion, via the Old French fide. It came from Latin, semper fidelis, and if you know the Marine background, I believe that's what that is. And it means always loyal. And it had nothing to do with belief in the absence of evidence, but rather about keeping promises and being worthy of trust. And so what are our promises to each other? What are our promises to ourselves? Spring is coming. Faith is planting those daffodil bulbs and knowing that they're going to come up. And I bet you this week, if you drive by the congregation, you'll see Andy Swanson's crocuses come up in our little side garden. And that's something that always gives me joy each year. Our sidewalk is one of the warmer places, I would say, in the city, but that's a part of the city that I walk towards. But it's one of the early risers, so keep an eye out for that. And then the question is, how do we grow wings? I know at different times I have felt like my wings were absent. My wings were cut off. And I felt like a baby bird trying to figure out how to fly again. And, with the anxiety of the pandemic, with the anxiety of politics over the past many years, how do we fly again? How do we trust? And I think it's being reminded of good people, letting ourselves be inspired, and to treat ourselves well, to take care of our mental health. I've noticed that people are starting to go to the Pablo Center to hear live music again. And people are going out to eat and venturing out, removing masks as they feel comfortable. Right now in Eau Claire County, the transmission level is low. And the CDC, gives guidelines that masks are not something that you have to have when it's low in buildings. And so we will be looking at our safety guidelines in the next, on Wednesday we have a safety meeting. If you have any feedback on that, you're welcome to talk to me, or Nate is our board president, he's in the back, and we have other members of the board here if you have feelings about safety and what you're feeling right now. And that's the trust, right? Is that we have gone through this pandemic. We've tried to make policies that keep people as safe as possible. But there's been that kind of, are we going too far? Are we not going far enough? Should the church be open? Should it be online? How do we care for one another? And at the core of that is that faith in this community, that we will be held in our good times and in our bad times. And we've been through a pretty bad time. But at that same time, maybe our wings are coming back a little stronger. Maybe we can weather more storms than we used to be able to weather. Going through that deep well of finding the heart of who we are. Who are we as a congregation? We're a congregation that values welcoming. We worked hard to be able to make sure people in California can be a part of our congregation, and that we have all these ideas about what it means to be UUC. We have the transit center, I'm pointing in the wrong direction, the transit center going up across the street, a bunch of new neighbors, and hopefully we'll welcome them into our congregation. And who we are keeps evolving. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. And isn't that true? Right now, we are in the midst of a lot of unknowns. What's going to happen in the world? Are we going to be okay? And at the core of things, when things are uncertain, we go back to who we are, the fundamentals of what are important. And we can trust in those. We can trust in love. We can trust in our integrity and our respect for one another. And I know for me, it's believing in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And I think a lot of people would call me an ultra-universalist because I truly believe in that. Even people who are frustrating the pants off of me right now, like Putin in Russia. I may not like what he's doing, but I still believe that he's a human being. And that's something that makes my actions different, maybe, right? And so when someone is doing something so aggressive and so harmful, and we enter into their space the same way, it's different. And that's why, like with politics, if you go down that low road, it's really hard to go back high, isn't it? And it doesn't mean that we don't hold people accountable, but it means that we rest in who we are and what we hold dear. And that's hard. That's hard when you're challenged and you see people being hurt. And so I invite you to think about Imuna. Like the baby donkey. We are all baby donkeys, figuring it out, looking for that mother to give us comfort, to give us that mother's milk. I have a kitty. His name is Percy. He's my favorite kitty. I shouldn't have a favorite kitty, but I do. He's a big, fluffy, 15 pounds maybe, and he's got this ruff, and he's very proud. He'll walk around like this, and I'll say, Percy, are you my baby? And he'll say, yes. At least that's what I think. He goes, meow. And I put him in a stroller, which is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. But you know what? That's okay. Because I discovered during the pandemic, for me to keep faith in myself, I needed to be ridiculous. And so I walk my little baby cat through the neighborhood full of dogs, and I have faith that hopefully the dogs won't try and get my cat. And people look in the carriage and they go, Nobody's insulted my baby yet. But I can't wait to be able to walk my baby Percy again. And I can't wait to see, I planted a labyrinth garden with Carl's help. Our neighbors thought we were creating an alien landing pad. Every week they're like, what is happening here? Because it looked like spokes of a wheel. And like, are you waiting for the green men to come down? And it's like, no, it's a labyrinth. Oh, what is that? And so it became a point of conversation. And then we put our liberal signs in our yard along with our labyrinth, and that became another point of conversation. And what's really nice is that I've gotten to know some of my neighbors. I've been there, this is my third year, is that people may have kind of ignored the sign if they didn't agree with it. But then they'd say, I love your sunflowers. I love what you're doing with your yard, because I thought we'd get some pushback because we were, tearing up our front yard and being arty-farty, I don't know. But instead, neighbors talked to us. And even though I knew some of the people had different signs in their yards and might feel very differently than I do on a lot of issues, that dignity of conversation, that relationship happened. And that, to me, is faith, too. That faith that even if we disagree, we can talk to one another. And Francis David said, we need not think alike to love alike. Recently, the school board had a meeting, and there were parents concerned about teachers keeping, there was a training in the district about safe spaces, and there was one piece of that was lifted out by some folks, and they were concerned that that parents would not be told if their child was gay or transgender or something like that. And so there was a lot of noise. There's also been noise about like which books are in our library. Like we can't have LGBT books in our library that might talk about sex, or they might talk about things that aren't appropriate. And what was really fantastic was the school board had an open meeting, and the first person who spoke got a little bit riled up, and the school board said, wait, we're not going to do that. We're going to take a recess. These are the rules of respect. You need to follow those rules. And they took a little recess, and they took a breath, came back, and everybody followed those rules after that. Everybody did. And I was real proud of that. On either side, everybody followed those rules. They might not have liked it. And they kind of got a little huffy when they were done, but that's the point, is that they respected the process. And my son Aaron is an LGBTQ youth, and he, from our home, he said, you know what? I have friends who need safe spaces to come out, and if they didn't have those spaces, there could be harm, and there has been harm when they've been forcibly outed to their parents. And knowing that our schools are a safe space is important to LGBTQ teens. And he also talked about book banning being a problem too, because that's not good either. And so people talked, and then it was done. And nothing was voted on, because it wasn't about the voting, it was about being heard. And so we all need to be heard. And as a parent of an LGBTQ teen, of course, I believe that our schools should be a safe space. And I hope that teachers can offer, I wouldn't ask them to tell me if my child came out as heterosexual, any more than I would ask them to tell me they came out as transgender or whatever. We need those faithful and trustful places, and we create those with love and trust. And there's sometimes the schools will do things that frustrate us, The masking guidelines drove everybody into different territories. We should mask, we shouldn't mask. The teachers had to enforce the mask, and it was so stressful. And then when they lowered the mask, people had different opinions. But at some point, we have to have faith and trust in our institutions. It's just like there's been so much doubt cast on our governmental structures, our voting structures. Like, we can't trust a fair and free election, only if it goes our way. But if it doesn't go our way, we're going to say that it wasn't a fair and free election. And so I think it's really important that we focus on renewing faith in each other, renewing faith in our community, in our schools, in our government, by process, by the democratic process. And this is a long way to go around to say emuna, braying like a donkey, having faith that something wonderful will happen, that someone will look out for you when you least expect it, that it's okay to push a cat in a carriage through your neighborhood, and your neighbors will still love you anyway. I'm going to close with this. There's a Rumi poem, and he talks about walking through the desert. And then at some point, when he's lost all faith, when he feels all alone, no hope, he can feel his wings lifting and his myth unfolding. And there's that lift when we least expect it. That moment when we are carried either by our own hearts or the hearts of our story and each other. And I hope you find that moment, that rise, and that lift. Amen. And Amuna.
In unison, the words by Elizabeth Seal Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And our closing words this morning. Go in faith, not the kind that is called to move mountains, but the quieter sort that calls us to take the first step even when the whole staircase sits beyond our view. And as we strive toward the unseen, may we notice that the way unfolds only as we risk walking it. And may we remember and trust that none of these steps are ones we take alone. Amen.